It didn't matter who was going to be on the field against us, they were going to lose. You get to that point as a young team with the mindset and the culture that we had, there was no way we were losing that game. My name's Doug Baldwin, and this is Calling Audible. It's time to take you behind the scenes of the 2013 football season. This is my story, but check out more incredible sports stories on Audible's original podcast, Believe and Think Like a Champion. When you talk about calling an audible, there's so much that goes into it. From a receiver standpoint, when we do hear an audible, it changes the whole play, right? But it also changes the mindset that you have to have. I could be lining up thinking I'm about to go block this defensive end. The audible could switch, and now I got to run a route. And so now you got to think on the fly what you got to do in order to be successful in that play. And so when we got into those spaces where you had to be adaptable and flexible with your route running, and then after the initial play, it was challenging for us. I came from a very specific, diagrammed up timing offense at Stanford. You know, you were supposed to be where you're supposed to be, and the quarterback is supposed to deliver the ball on time when he's supposed to deliver the ball. That wasn't always the case in Seattle. And so as we kept learning more and more about Russ and how he wanted to navigate outside of the pocket, we just got better and better at it. I mean, I know there's times in the game where I would look over at Russ and I wouldn't have to say anything. I would just give him a certain look and he would know the guy that's covering me is not going to be covering me in about 5 seconds, so get the ball to me. And I got a lot of practice of Russ breaking out of the pocket. The first play breaks down, we're still having fun. It's just backyard football at that point. And I grew up on that. You gotta do whatever you gotta do to get open. You know, you got a quarterback who's scrambling for his life back there, trying to get the ball out. And to Russ's credit, he was always looking downfield to make a play. So you had to get open. Before we even drafted Russell, I had sent out a tweet saying that I liked that quarterback. And the reason why I liked him is because he was consistent. And then when I got to meet him for the first time, it felt like there was this young guy who was grounded, humble, knew that he had to prove himself. And what separated him from maybe some other folks is that he didn't force the issue. He didn't try to make it about himself at that time. We were all part of a team. You had a lot of young kids who were delusionally confident. Obviously, when Sherm got there, he was immediately confident that he could do whatever he wanted to do on the field. Richard and I first met on my official visit to Stanford. Sherm is so authentically himself that I was drawn to his personality because I felt like he was allowing me to be myself as well, right? When you have a person who looks at you and really sees you and accepts you for the flaws and all, it's really hard to not lean into that. And Sherm did that for me. He's taught me a lot about love. And I'm really grateful for him as a man because I wouldn't have been in Seattle if it wasn't for him. He really pushed me to be here, to come with him. And he talked to the coaches and got the coaches on board and made them understand what kind of player they were getting if they were to bring me on. And I told myself, if they give me one opportunity, they're not gonna regret it, right? You guys look at me like I'm not the biggest guy on the planet, right? I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the most athletic, but what I had was the determination to win. The beautiful thing about that locker room was that we didn't really care about the outside noise. I know that the pundits and the analysts that are sitting at those desks, they have to create drama because that's what they get paid to do. When somebody calls us pedestrian or average or the appetizers, we'll show them how filling we really can be. Going into the big game, we didn't care anything about those narratives, right? We knew who we were. You know, I remember very specifically in the hotel room before the biggest game of our careers, talking to my boy Cam, and there was just no question. There was no question. It didn't matter who was going to be on the field against us, they were going to lose. Honestly, there was no audible when it comes to the game plan that we had going into the game. We were so confident, right? And again, the X's and O's don't really matter if you don't have the players and the culture to execute it. We had all of it. We knew we had a dominant defense. We knew on offense, all we had to do was just not screw it up. So the expectation was that we have the talent, we have the ability, so we had to capitalize. It was just a championship winning culture is what I would call it. It wasn't always easy. It wasn't without its lack of confrontation and conflict, but it was necessary in order for us to be successful. That's just culture. And when you have a culture like that, you can do amazing things. You can impact a lot of lives and have success in whatever way that you define success. I'm Doug Baldwin, and thank you so much for tuning in to Call an Audible, presented by Audible. For more episodes like this, please like and subscribe. Be sure to check out Richard and Russ's podcast and more incredible sports stories only from Audible.